The first step in operating the Kepco bipolar operational power supply is to turn on the AC power to the unit, and you'll notice a light comes on letting us know that we're in the current mode. We can switch that with the mode switch, which will turn the light from the current to the voltage back and forth as we switch it. If we set it now into the voltage mode and go to do the voltage control, then we'll notice that nothing will happen because we have to turn on the output for the voltage control first. With that, we can then control the voltage and see as it changes with this dial. And you'll also notice that when the switch is off and we turn the dial, nothing is going to happen. Switching over now into the current mode, it's pretty much identical to the voltage mode. You have to turn on the output, and then the dial allows you to control the current. The Kepco BOP can be used as an amplifier instead of just as a power supply by connecting inputs into the voltage programming input or the current programming input, depending on which you want to amplify. You'll also need to include a resistive load described through the manual. In order to set the voltage min-max limits as well as the current min-max limits, you turn these little screws, and when you attempt to send a voltage or current beyond the limit, the little light in the middle will turn on. In order to connect the Kepco to a load, you're going to want to use the common and the output little probe slots, and you are going to want the senses connected to their corresponding, and that's going to be done with a little tool that looks like this, such that sense and common and output and sense are both connected as shown. This allows for local sensing. If you want to perform remote sensing, then you want to connect separate wires to the sense at the output and the common, and you want those links to be disconnected. At the back of the Kepco is those same 5 plus an additional ground net. These will also have to have their senses connected with an additional connection between the ground net and the common. You must have a connection between the senses and the commons and the senses and the output, but you must only have one at a time. So if you're using the front, these back connections should be gone and the front connection should be in, and vice versa if you're going to use the back. The back panel also has a programmable control unit, which looks like this, which is a bunch of wiring connections to various pins. The unit should come with a standard set of configurations for local control, but if you want to change what the function of the BOP is, then you're going to want to change these wirings as laid out through the manual. For example, if you want to use it as an amplifier, you will have to make some new connections. Remote control of the BOP can be performed by this GPIB card output. To communicate with the Kepco, you're going to need to know the GPIB address, which you can do through a program such as NIMAX. National Instruments creates LabVIEW, so if you plan to use LabVIEW, this is a great program to do so. As you'll see, we have our GPIB card shown, and it shows a scan for instruments. Right now we have no instruments shown because our BOP is off. If we now turn our BOP on and then go back and scan for instruments, we should now be able to find it. And there we go, it's underneath the GPIB, and here we go, it shows us the model, and we can check that against our current model, and we'll find that this is the 2020 as listed. You'll also notice that now that we are remote controlling, the remote light is turned on. And also, if we attempt to now switch the modes, nothing will happen because local control is locked out. But we can switch the mode remotely. As you can notice, the lights are switching. As you'll also notice, we no longer have to turn the dial. Now all of this will, of course, be done remotely, and so we can control the voltage. Right now I have a current limit set, which we have just passed, and so you notice the voltage program turns off, and it shows us now at the current limit with this light. Program also allows us to quickly reset everything, so then we can begin powering off.